Good evening, everyone. I hope you've all had fantastic days. It has been a busy day in the garden here. Um, let's head on over into collectively rewilding. I think some of you might have to hear some of this material twice, and I apologize for the repetition, but it sure is interesting stuff. And here we can talk about it even more in depth, right? So, what have you guys got going on? I'd love any questions that you do have, or if you guys want to talk about it, what you've got going on, Tammy, what you've got going on with your gardening stuff. Maybe you want to save it for Saturday. Hopefully it'll work out
Um,
for you this weekend.
Me, I'm just, they sprouted, so like I have to totally transplant a lot of these lovely plants that seeds that I planted. In the
So with
starting.
some of them, I noticed that they had a really long kind of thin stem. Uh,
Yeah,
to get that corrected, they need a little bit more sunlight. That's what
yeah.
you're
So
trying
they're
to.
in my house. They're in my
Yeah.
house right, and I'm like, I'm so scared to even like attempt to put them outside. So
You
I
just want
gotta
to put them
figure
outside as they are for like an hour or two. And you
out.
want to, if you can, put them in the eastern sunlight. Like you're an early riser. Is Daryl an early-ish riser too? I know you guys have different
Yeah, that's
kind of.
funny. No, I'm the
No,
early
he's not.
person.
Um,
Yeah, he's the
well,
later like you.
is your wheelchair working currently?
No, actually, they called me yesterday, 4 days ago, and let me know that it needed some more. Uh, they need to more order some more parts. So
Bummer. I'm so
it's
sorry.
currently in the shop. So yeah, so that's gonna be another 2 weeks. But other than that,
Mhm.
like, I need to transplant
Well,
that.
perhaps you could put them out a couple of hours at night because it's still going to be hotter, probably outside, of course, than it is in your house. So before he goes to bed at night, he could put them out for a couple of hours at night, and you could start to harden them off a little bit that way. You could put them out for like 30 minutes in the western sunlight, the noon sunlight is easier on them. The later it goes, the hotter it's going to get. So the earliest that you can get them in sunlight, the better. And just leave them out there for like half an hour to an hour or two. Keep an eye on them. If they start looking like they're feeling it at all, get them right out of the sunlight and just like slowly start acclimatizing them in the containers they're in. And that'll probably take you at least a week to 2 weeks before you would even want to consider transplanting them into something else.
Yeah, I just got them in that little thing, that
And that
little.
little thing is fine. Just let them harden off a little bit in those containers. They'll start looking a lot more sturdy. They don't look
Okay.
they only look
So,
unhealthy because I understand plants, but they have a nice color. They're getting enough nutrients. They're just not getting enough sunlight. So you're
yeah.
going to have much healthier plants if you get them out in the sunlight.
Yeah, so they're right next to my bed. So like it's hot, Sabrina. It's freaking hot. It's like
I
this
know that's why I'm like you might have to start at like half hour intervals. Really keep
it's
an eye
like
on them, right?
100, like 105. It just in the morning, it's like I'm hitting the 90s already when I wake up, kinda. So
Oh my
like seven.
gosh.
Yeah,
And you wake up really early.
yeah. Like I wake up at 3, like 3 a.m. That's my
And it's
my
already
morning.
getting to the 90s.
Like when it's like around 7, like 7:38, it's starting to get like
Yeah.
85, 90,
Okay.
so
Yeah. That's a little
uh
more acceptable. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying because it's already going to be hotter as you guys are going to bed than what it is in your house. And so if
yeah.
Daryl will take them out and harden them off for a couple of hours every night for, 2 or 3 nights, not a lot. Do that for 2 or 3 nights and
Mm.
then take them out as early as he gets up as you guys can possibly manage to get. I'm not a morning person. I've no judgment here. All right. But as soon as he's able to get out and start moving those, go put them out. And you might look at him at like 15 minutes. If he's patient enough and willing, I would check them every 5 minutes. And I would
Yeah,
keep them out more
um,
than about half an hour to maybe 40 minutes the first few
yeah. I just need to get like, like one, maybe like a little like greenhouse, like the ones that go on the ground, like for the miniature ones, because I
It's
I
the light you need more than anything
well,
right
it's the
now.
green. It's like the ones that you can put on your balcony,
Mhm.
They're like these green ones. I'll text it to you or whatever.
I
But I
mean, if you're
need to.
talking about adding light or something, like that's great. But if you're
Oh
just
no,
talking,
I just need a cover. I need to cover them because I have wildlife. So I'm talking about
but if
squirrels.
you
They
add a
love.
cover in the sun, it's gonna
It's gonna
fry
be
them.
under my. It's gonna be under my porch. You get what I'm
How are
saying?
they
So I
going to
have,
get sunlight?
oh, it's fucking hot. Excuse my language.
It
It's
doesn't
freaking
matter if
hot.
it's hot. It has to get
It's
sunlight.
for like until maybe like 2 in the afternoon. Like sit
Okay.
out there, and my whole arm is literally like I stand on one side and the white on the other side. So I'm like, you know what? I think I need to like turn around and get the other side
You might want to do that. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Like introduce it slowly too, just like the plants, right? Introduce your other side.
for
Chances be
sure.
you're a pretty fair person. You'll burn pretty easy unless you're like my sister and my children and you tan better. But
I'm Italian, so I kind of I get dark in general. So
that's cool. I don't. I burn. I mean, I'm better than my husband. He can start burning in 7 to 15 minutes because he's not redheaded, but he's got a little bit of red. So
yeah,
he's got that really fair skin,
my husband too. He'll like, he's kind of like white like your husband, and then like when he gets burned, like he's like, I knew I should have bought some sunscreen. Like his whole face, his neck, so
Get a
bad.
hat from the gas station. I'm telling you what, I love this one,
And
right?
then
I got it from my soda store. Dr. Pepper's got to be had. So this one was there.
but then he puts his sunglasses on, right? So when he takes it off and he has his hat on, there's
Oh, I let my skin get out too, so I don't have raccoon eyes. Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
that's what he has. So it's all red and it's
Oh,
so funny. He's like, where's my glasses? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're on your face. Yeah.
like I have really sensitive eyes as well. Actually, there's a condition, and the lighter the irises of your eyes are, the more likely that you are to get it. And I have this little dot in the bottom of my right eye, and it's raised up and it's slightly yellowed. It's not fun. Most people will never even notice it, but it drives me crazy just because I know it's there. It's not like something that'll really cause you any trouble other than just not liking it, but be aware the lighter your irises are, you want to protect them from the sun even more because there's just this who wants a yellow bump in their eye for no particular reason at all, right? And it's really not yellow, it just has a faint like it has little teeny lines in it that are slightly yellow, right? But it drives me crazy. And anyone can get it from too much sun exposure. But the lighter your irises are, the more you're in jeopardy of developing it. Fun stuff. So anything else going on? You've got some plans, Miss Tammy? Benny, you got anything going on, or who else with us now? Vanessa, you've never really asked some questions, but do you have a garden growing, my lady? And she might not be at her device.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we sure can.
Oh. I have some bell peppers and some like chilies, but
I'm
they're
sorry, it was bell peppers and what?
some chilies, some jalapenos.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
They're
So you
not
like those kind of spicier nightshades then.
they're not doing very well.
Oh, I'm sorry. The weather is rough this year, right? It is. It's hard.
Yeah.
Are you getting a lot of rain with everything that's going on in Texas?
We were, but we haven't got any lately. About a week now, but we were getting it like every day. But
Yeah,
then,
did it cause problems for you guys at all?
no, not here where I was. It was pretty good. Just rain every now and then. So.
Sabrina, she's in Alabama, not Texas.
It's south, right? Like,
Yeah.
when we have weather come through here, it's gonna head on down to Colorado. And then like just the stuff in general, and the water can expand over a pretty large area when it's heavy in any of those states, right? So
Yeah,
it's
she
actually,
has a house in Texas though. She
mm,
has a house in Texas, so yeah.
there was some flooding in New Mexico actually during this time as well, and at least one family, was swept away by it and lost their lives. So lots of tragedy.
And North Carolina too.
Yeah, that was really hard. That was really hard.
Yeah,
I think
crazy.
that the Texas death toll has surpassed theirs. I'm not certain, but I think it has, and there's still people unaccounted for. From my understanding, it's so hard. Our hearts, right, go out to them. Very tragic. So you said your peppers and your chilies are struggling. Is it too much water, too much heat, not enough sunlight? Do you know kind of
I think
how
I think it's the heat.
Hmm.
I think it's the heat because I water them like early in the morning, and
Are they yellowed or are they dry? Both?
they're real dry and just like wilting over.
Mm. Is there any way you could provide, since you have, it doesn't sound like a very large number of plants, could you provide some sort of sunshade for them in the most intense time of the light?
I could probably move them because I have them in the pots. So,
And how big are your pots?
um, medium size.
So like at least 5 gallon or bigger?
No, a little smaller than that.
So pepper plants, especially, I'm not sure what kind of chilies you have. That could definitely be a different answer there, right? Do you know what kind of chilies you have?
Not offhand. No, I have to look at the little tag.
So let's just ask, well, let's just go to Gemini. I haven't been liking the way they're displaying. I thought I had Gemini pulled up for us here. There it is. Okay. I don't like the way that Google Chrome has been displaying. They're like taking away my AI answers and putting them down further and stuff. I don't like what they're doing with that. So let's jump over here into Gemini. All right. All right. What size pot should we use? Yes, at least 5 gallons. And that's the minimum. I struggled. I didn't like the way, but I don't like containers. So one of the things that you'll want to do if you want them to succeed is put them into a larger container, and you might want to move them. It depends. So what, do you know, like when they get the light, how many hours, anything like that?
Where during the morning hours, it's pretty much stay shaded, so it's probably around 1 to maybe 6 that they get the heat, 5 around
So
there.
that kind of light is actually not as good for them as the early morning light. And generally they can get enough light in 6 hours, but you really want a larger amount of sunlight if you can get it, more towards 12 hours, at least 8 to 10 where you can. So if you can move, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
Well, I was just gonna say, I had a couple of the bell peppers grow, but they grow real small and then they start getting brown and they die.
So there's a couple of things going on there, right? That's the lower nutrient count because you don't have enough soil for them. They may not, because they're in such a struggling environment already, the lower amount of sunlight is really affecting them. The heat is also affecting them because they're not getting that gradual, nice warm up into some of the hotter hours, right? They're starting at like this time when it starts getting really hot. And then they're only getting that hottest type of sunlight.
Because during the morning, where I have them, it stays shaded.
Yeah, so that's the exact reverse of what they prefer.
Okay.
So if you're able to put them in a place where they can get more sunlight, but the sunlight that starts in the morning, get them into bigger containers. And what kind of soil mix did you use, Vanessa?
I just bought some. It wasn't the Miracle Grow because I remember you said don't use that.
Not if you want the organic stuff, right? Like everybody gets to make their own decisions, of course. But yeah, Miracle Grow is a lot of chemicals in it.
I don't remember what brand I bought.
But a potting mix.
Yeah.
And was it good for garden vegetables? Did it say something like that?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so yes, you can just get the exact same kind of soil, right? The same brand, doesn't matter, different brand. Add some soil, give them more room, give them a different light if you're able to. More light as well as a different light would be the ideal situation. And If they have to be exposed the whole day, right? Like if to get them that morning light, they get exposed all day, that's when you might consider, especially since they're already damaged and they're going to have to be transplanted in order to be effective, if you want to take it that far, right? Sometimes we're like, okay, I know what I did, and now I'm going to just start over next year. Or being in Alabama, you could maybe start over right now, to be completely real about it, and continue through. Let's see, let's just ask. I've never had options like that, right? Nevada, if I would have had like a greenhouse, because of the cold nights, right? The Nevada stays relatively warm, at least Las Vegas area, right? There are different parts, of course, but it gets really cold at night. And so you would need some protection for them, especially in the winter time, even though it would be relatively mild in the day. What we're doing here. What is your zip code as well, my dear? You don't mind sharing?
What is it? It's 36507.
Excellent. Okay. I'm pretty sure. Chili, like, oof, goodness, it could be so many different ways. Chili, like southwestern style, like green chili, or more like a serrano pepper,
The red,
or
it's a red one.
a small red one.
Yeah.
Let's just look. Common garden map, small red chili, or this should give us an AI answer. Oh, and see, it puts it there at the top, and then it pops it down here at the bottom. Serrano is really, oh, did I say, yes, red. That's what I was thinking, but I don't use them a lot, so I didn't want to risk it. So I would guess that there would be Serrano. All right. Let's see, now let's go back to Gemini. Is this Gemini? Oh, it changed. Now, like, no, 2 hours or 1? Where did it go? 2 hours. Okay.
I put a picture of it in the chat. That's what they look like. It just died. It got all dried up and.
Oh no, did it? Okay, well, so seedlings, right? I don't know about seeds. We'll start with seedlings. It started now with bell peppers and common varieties of chilies.
The two. I put the picture in the chat.
Hold on just 1 second, and we'll pull that up. Started now as seedlings with bell peppers and common varieties of chilies like Serrano in the zip code, would they have enough time to reach harvest? Let's get down here. Hopefully there's a takeaway. Yes, bell peppers and common varieties of Serrano peppers would likely have enough time to reach harvest. It started now as seedlings in your area. So you can choose to start over and still reach harvest this year.
Would I be able to use the seeds from the peppers themselves?
I wouldn't, because they didn't do well.
Okay. Did you see the picture? How sad it looks.
Oh, let's pull that up. I think I might have to. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that definitely Let's see, can you guys see it when I pull it up like that? No?
Yeah.
Okay. That looks like Serrano that you brought to fruition. That might taste decently. I just, when it struggled so hard, its seeds are going to be less than ideal.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you said it died, right?
Well, I pulled it off because it was just like,
Oh, so the plant itself didn't die?
no, the plant itself didn't die.
So if
It's
I were
all
in your shoes and I wasn't worried about the cost, I would probably take my plants to the better location and start some new ones, because you also have to transplant these if you want them to come to a better health, right?
yeah.
And so that is going to put them in another kind of shock. And so they're going to struggle a little bit again, and that again affects their overall production and the quality of the seeds. So if you're able, it would be very easy for you to see also, just to have that experience, to see how the different plants do in the new location, to see how it still continues to affect them going forward. Though they may start doing better, they won't ever be the plants that you start now as seedlings, if you're able to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the best thing is just try to move them to an area where they get the sun in the morning, and then move them like when it gets really hot back to shade area, or
So
just leave them.
if you're able to, all you'd need to do was have some pots with dirt or rock in it and put up like branches or a couple of yardsticks in each pot, and you could drape a sheet over it for just a couple of hours each day when it's the hottest time, if they continue to suffer from sunlight.
All right.
That to me would be easier than having to move all those pots.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you can buy some like river rocks. They're not too much, just a bag or two to put on the top so that it's not ugly. Put your yardsticks, your branches, whatever you use, put that in, put the just dig some garden soil up if you're able to, and just put that in there, and then put just some garden rocks or something on the top. And then it doesn't look as yucky while you have it out there, right? You could like, since you're not growing anything in that, or I mean, you could, and then you wouldn't want to put paint on the part that's in the soil, but you can paint them so that they don't look as yucky. Just buy some spray paint to paint them, depending on, like I said, if it's a vining one, then you wouldn't want to put a toxic paint. There's still paints that you can use around plants that are less toxic, right? Especially if it's just for ornamental. Because you could probably start some like zinnias as an example, and just some cheaper soil or garden soil, and put some mulch on it since it's outside, especially. That'll help them in a lot of different ways. And that'll eventually, if you are successful with container gardening, those could reach as a shade already for them. When you watch your sun go through the day, it changes the trajectory through the year, the sun, right? And if you look at the angle of how the light falls, and you can find the angle that happens when it's, say 2 to 4, 1 to 4, any of that kind of time right there, and give them that break, the zinnias will create a nice sun shield. You don't want it to block all of their light though, right? The bad light, yes. The good light, no. So you want to put your sunshade, whatever kind. You want to pay attention to the light on your yard, on your garden, whatever it is. And you want to get the morning through to, about 2 o'clock, probably. That's a good 8 hours of sun. And then from then on, that angle, if you block it, if they continue to struggle, that's only if they continue to struggle. They may not mind it. They like a lot of sunlight.
Okay.
But with the heat, right? So those are some ways to do it cheaply and easily than having to move those pots. If you have some cute little garden cart or something, you could put them on there and wheel them back and forth a little bit, right? But that seems like an awful lot of work. All right, my dear. Very cool. Anything anyone else would like to talk about with what they've got going on? Candace, Benny, do you have anything going on in yours? Check out that chat there. Nothing going on for you? Oh, I'm so sorry, Benny. Did your plants not, didn't you have a few plants? I thought you had a couple. Just been busy working on turning into a full business, I would guess, right? That's a big venture. And he's probably answering. We'll give him a moment. We've had a ton going on here today. I didn't think we were going to be able to remove the aspen that are problematic over here to our eastern front yard side. They were beautiful. Oh my gosh, they were so glorious. A gentleman offered to cut them down for somewhere between $900 to $1,300. At the most expensive, it could cost that much per tree. And they're all one plant. It's all one living organism. But there were probably around 15 individual stumps for trees out there. And so it was a big project. Had to take the opportunity because we already have like 40 baby aspen constantly trying to come up in the front yard, and that will only increase and increase. And every time we mow that, it sends chemical signals to the roots to spread out more and try to grow bigger. So now we're going to take a handy little tool that my wonderful neighbor, Bart, next door gave us. It's really a survival tool, but you can definitely drill into a tree with it. That's what it's meant for. You drill down into a tree. You want it to be kind of close to the, not a tree, excuse me, with the full purpose of it. You want like a stump that's been cut out, a log, something like about this big, nicer, around the better, because you're going to make it into a stove. You drill in close to the side, drill down as far as the tool will take you, and then you come in from the side and you meet it, and it makes this L, and you fill that full of kindling, and then you can light it, and it turns it into a little mini stove. It keeps you warm. You can cook on it. Always, of course, keeping in mind the wildlife and things around you, and not having an open flame in any kind of a tent or anything like that. It would not be that sort of a device. Teepees, of course, had a smoke hole, and that kept people from dying as long as it continued to vent as it was supposed to, but inhaling that smoke was not good. It doesn't matter what culture you're talking about. Back in the day when they were constantly around those indoor fires, even if it had some ventilation, such as like England, right, in the say 17, 18, 1900s, it caused enormous damage to their lungs. So always a little bit rough, but got to be careful. It's a cool thing. We're going to take that same tool, drill down into those stumps, and inject them with water, vinegar, Dawn, and yes, some salt. We won't do equal parts with the salt. The other three elements will be equal parts: water, Dawn, vinegar, maybe a little extra vinegar in this particular case. Actually, typically that is the ratio that we would use. And in like concrete cracks, we might have added salt. It's not something you want to do if you want that land to grow anything again in the next few decades. Salt is only to be used very, very sparingly in very specific situations. I don't like introducing it into the land at that location. However, those tree stumps are going to allow us to put this chemical into the tree, a more organic side. It is a lab created Dawn. Vinegar is much more natural. Salt is, of course, natural completely, as is water, but that Dawn, it's still kind of towards that lab created, but much softer than most chemical intervention. And try to kill that root structure, because they're going to keep sending things up every time we mow the lawn until the root structure itself dies. Really, really bad around wiring, pipes, which the pipes will be around wiring that's buried in the ground as well. So it doesn't matter. It's going to get into those pipes, and it's going to cause massive amounts of problems. Unfortunately, as they are not native to this elevation, they are native to Utah, to this area. However, they should be higher. They were introduced here in a residential area. I don't understand the thinking. It's unfortunate, and it was really sad to watch them come down and see the bugs that were affected by it and the birds that were affected by it. To watch my dog, my poor old dog, every change really throws her for a loop, and to just watch her standing there in the middle of the yard like, oh my God, what just happened? We cut down a small stand of trees. It was a lot. So yeah, big changes over here for sure. You can see what we have left with the, this was actually a wasp that I could not get it. It ran so quickly. A weird looking critter, nothing like I've ever seen before. And obviously it had had a home in those aspen trees. So yeah, really kind of sad. But these are the big logs that we have left from the trunk. Aspen are not large trees in their girth. They're fast growing. It's not the strongest wood. It's not as soft as some woods like willow. Willow is tremendously softer than aspen. But it's used in fencing all the time. So we're going to take these bigger ones, and actually my husband had the thought that we're going to use it in our Walipini instead of having to purchase lumber, which is so tremendously cost saving. And he's actually going to, there's some pretty fat, nice aspen trunks for as far as aspen trunks go. And he's going to use those standing up. And we can not only grow in the parts that we leave open above some of it, but put pots or some sort of planters. He was even thinking shelves. I just pictured a pot on the end of the stump. You know, I'm totally comfortable in the city, but I'm country at heart, right? So, and then we'll take these smaller branches and the stems. I don't know that I got a great picture of that. There's so much here. We'll take all of this material. The leaves, of course, will turn into compost, and the medium-sized ones that don't bend well but aren't sturdy enough to use for like the wall in the Walipini wall. It's going to be a more traditional wall, like in some senses of the word. Funny stuff. Anyway, the medium-sized ones will be a lot of Hugel Kultur material and some firewood. The thinner branches and even, yes, the trunk goes up and becomes very thin on aspen towards the top. That will be used to weave small fences for our side yard over here and for our neighbor's yard. I get to play over there quite a bit as well. He's pretty open to my planning out within reason what he wants over there or what he has over there in his yard, right? Like he's got his wants, we'll plan that all in, and he's gonna let me put some trees over there most likely. It's great fun. So we want to raise up at least over in his yard with wood chips, if not with some of the garden soil from our huge mound in the back. And then we'll put these wattle style fences, these woven fences around, just low. They'll be really cute, and we may need to wattle and daub. These are old-fashioned words, but it's like a mortar, and we may need to add that element because we want to put the wood chips and possibly soil in his, definitely soil in ours, that we want it to contain that material. So it may need to have some sort of mortar inside of it to provide it with just a little bit more structure, right, on the backside, so that it's still very pretty on the front, and a thin layer of it wouldn't be this huge concrete structure. It would be very minimal that you would see that mortar element that would be in there. So definitely going to have tons of fun using all that material. I say that. My husband and my children, of course, are not as thrilled about that particular additional work that has to be done. However, it's going to enable us more quickly to make use of that soil for a lot of things. We need to try to hurry now and get the panels that we still need for the mounds on the front yard. For the front yard, the actual true front yard, we want it to be as nice as possible because we don't want to fight with the city, right? They're already going to be happy with what we're doing on the side yard because it was just dead soil with nasty weeds in it. Yuck. And so doing what we're doing over there, they're going to be happy with it. I don't think they're going to give us much trouble as long as we don't take it to extremes. On the actual yard itself, if we don't make it look more ornamental, they may give us a hard time. And I don't want to fight with the city. I want to get along with them. I have a lot of ideas that they may be amenable to, that I can help them find funding for with all the things that we do over in our other community, right? So having a good relationship is always desirable, and especially in this sense, I would really like to encourage things like this and not have it become a battle. So we need to buy the panels. I'm not sure if they're 1x8, 2x8, but anyway, they're just thin planks of wood, and build the mounds out front, because we don't want to compact the soil that we're going to add to the side yard. We already put wood chips down, knowing that that was going to get covered with the garden soil, because you do need to be aware when you put, especially that loose, finer wood chip style wood under soil, when it decomposes, it steals the nitrogen from your soil. So generally, you want to use the wood on top of your soil, where as it decomposes, it doesn't steal the nitrogen from your soil. It's just providing other nutrients in for your soil. And perhaps some of the nitrogen it takes from the air may be reintroduced into your soil. That I don't know. It's just a thought that popped into my head. It seems to make a little bit of sense to me, though, as that material further breaks down, that it might leave some nitrogen behind. Perhaps not, though. That's one of the things you need to be aware of. And then when you put it on the top, it doesn't steal the nitrogen from your soil. It just puts the nutrients back in. The Hugel Culture, while it will still some small amounts of nitrogen, it's such a slow decomposition process for the whole log, right? You've watched, if you're around any rivers, lakes, oceans, things like that, the wood can last for quite some time when it is exposed as its whole piece of wood, as an integrity, as a structure. It will retain that structure for quite a while, unless it's something like willow or that kind of material. It will tend to break down a little more quickly, but especially a hardwood, it can last a very, very long time. Aspen is not a hardwood, it's a softwood, but it's still going to break down very slowly, stealing very small amounts of nitrogen as it goes, but holding onto that water to completely compensate for what it does steal of the nitrogen. Very easy to add some small amounts of clover or other ways to reintroduce that nitrogen that is taken. Here in the West, it's well worth that amount of nitrogen that's stolen to store that water. All right, guys, let's check out what Mr. Benny had to say. Benny had plants, he says, that came with the home when they moved in. And he's been trying to balance all of life with family. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I hear that so well, Benny. And doing a lot of market research for your business. That's probably something that you're a lot better at than I am. That kind of talk and the research that goes into that kind of thing is not my most enjoyable business elements. Some snake plants, nice, and rose bushes in front of the house. And so snake plants, here in Utah, it gets too cold. You're in Massachusetts, right? Do they overwinter there? I wouldn't think so. If you're ever interested, there is an app called Picture This. So yeah, here. Or let's just look at the Google Play Store. This is silly. Okay. The really good app. When I've tested it, when I've known what I was looking at and I tested it, it was correct. Picture This. It's, I think, $40 for a year, but you could get it for a free trial if you didn't have a lot of need of it, and just go around and identify the few plants that you don't know for sure on your property, and you'd be able to write it down. You could take the screenshots of the information you wanted about them, and then keep it or not keep it as worked for you, right? So Picture This. Let's go ahead and grab this and I'll share it in Collectively Rewilding for you guys. Poison ivy, no fun. There's a lot of trees. That's so awesome. I do love trees. Hopefully your trees aren't problematic, like so many of these trees we've been talking about today, right? So the snake plants die out in the winter and regrow in the spring and summer. That's really nice. Oh, very cool. It got really big this year. Your snake plant or whatever, right? You're thinking it's snake plants. they won't overwinter here, they won't come back, right? That's a style of overwintering. Some things don't show that they stay alive, but they come back. Here, from what I've researched, I had some snake plants, and we had very little light in several of the places that we've lived here in Utah inside our homes. And they weren't looking very good. I wanted to see if I could plant them outside, and it just was not recommended in my area. They wouldn't come back. So very interesting. That's why it might be a different type, right? Even if it is a snake plant, maybe it's a different type of snake plant that can come back. So I would think that your area would get pretty cold. We get down pretty commonly in the night, easy down to 20 or not often below 0. It can happen. Cortez, Colorado gets down below 0 more commonly, and we experienced it a lot when we were living in Wyoming. Oh yes, Miss Vanessa, please go ahead.
Yeah. I was told, because we have a lot of bugs here and everything, to put spray peroxide on the grass. Is that good or no?
I think I have heard of peroxide. Let's go ahead and ask Gemini. I think I have heard of peroxide use for like mold removal, like mildew. What is it called? I'm just totally having a brain freeze. It's a powdery growth on plants, and I cannot think of the name right now. Powdery mildew. There we go. Okay. So
Would it plants or anything, or just kill the bugs?
Let's check it out, right? And I would guess that you would dilute it, right? You wouldn't add it as is. It would be mixed with water.
Well, I think they told me to put it straight.
Okay.
Straight peroxide, but
Let's just say that then. On grass, you said?
yeah, on the grass.
And you can just leave yourself unmuted, my dear, unless you have a lot of background noise. I haven't heard any.
My husband keeps yelling.
Would spraying peroxide on grass get rid of negative insects? That's what you're wanting?
Yeah.
Okay. Without harming grass. Not widely recommended. Yeah, you'd have to use it very carefully. It says it's an oxidizer. When it comes into contact, like when you are putting it in your clothes to release stains, that oxidizes it, like pushes it off with oxygen, kind of is almost how you could picture it. When it comes into contact with organic matter, it releases an extra oxygen molecule, oh my gosh, which is what causes the bubbling and can get damaged cells. So soft-bodied pests like aphids, spider mites, mealybugs, and particularly fungal gnats, larvae in the soil. It can also act as an antifungal or antibacterial agent, like I was saying for like the powdery mildew.
So
it does break down very quickly. Go ahead.
Would you recommend it putting water with it, mix it with water instead of using
I would look for another alternative. So let's just ask what would be. Oh my gosh, I can't type when I just type for a second. Your lawn's health, right? So that's where they're proper mowing, correct watering, fertilizing. Lawns are a monoculture, so they don't continuously replenish the soil of all nutrients. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you do have to, if you want to have a monoculture lawn, you have to add some sort of fertilizer. Like we've talked about, there are more natural variations up to the most chemical oriented or laboratory chemicals. I said we're all made of chemicals. Everything is chemicals. It can be broken down to its chemical structure. Also, don't over fertilize, right? And then this is something that we're having to do for our front yard. We're having to aerate it. Have you had anybody come in and do any aeration, or do you do any type of aeration for your lawn?
No.
That is creating a kind of compactness again, because it's a monoculture. The roots become so compact under there that it creates what's called a thatch, and it actually starts inhibiting the growth of the grass. So you have to go in and create holes in your soil to loosen that up, to provide aeration, right? So it's de-thatching is what that's called. There was something else I wanted to add with that. So when you're doing it manually, you have to do it more generally because they're not digging up quite as much. If you have someone come in and do it every 2 or 3 years, they'll pull up those big plugs, right? Like when you're walking in a park, have you ever seen they look almost like there's something gross, but they're not. They're just chunks, little plugs of soil. Have you ever seen that at a park?
I think so. I'm not sure.
It's not something that you would definitely pay a lot of attention to unless you knew what you were looking at or really paid a lot of attention to what's going on with the soil and the plants and things like that, right? They almost look like feces, but they're just chunks of soil, like a tube of soil that they'll pull out, and it's usually 2 or 3 inches long, and there'll be a grid pattern all over the area when you look around of little teeny holes about the size of a quarter. And that is the most effective style of aeration. You'll see in the spring little signs that'll come up in neighborhoods that say aeration, call da da da. That's what they're talking about.
Okay.
That's going to be a big help to your lawn. Getting it some nutrients, getting it some air, introducing beneficial bugs. Now, these are like the more natural sprays. I use diatomaceous earth in my house. I have never used it in the garden. It's saying that it's going to get rid of the insects. Be aware it will harm all insects. Any insects that come into contact with diatomaceous earth, they're going to start getting these little microscopic cuts all over their bodies. It doesn't harm us like that. You don't want to inhale it. It can do damage to your lungs and your passageways and things like that. But food grade only, as it says, it will definitely kill insects. And it should probably break down into some sort of components that would be, if not good for your soil, not bad. There's insecticidal soap. They have neem oil. Neem oil is just a natural oil. It's pretty hardcore. Garlic spray. Oh, that's an interesting one. That's a definitely good idea, I think. Patient targeted approach, read labels. And then did you want one that was more chemical intervention?
I wanted to try to stick to more natural, but that's fine too. Chemicals. I just want to get rid of some of these bugs.
Bringing in the good bugs by increasing the health of your overall property's soil will decrease the bad bugs. Bad bugs are a part of the cycle too. They're there to feed the birds. They're there to feed the wasps and the spiders. And it's all a functioning ecosystem. But when your soil is unhealthy, when your plants are unhealthy, you're going to have more of the bad bugs, right? And there are definitely ways to bring in the good bugs and push the bad bugs more outside of your property. But it's all a part of nature. Nothing in nature is when it's where it's supposed to be, right? Invasive species being what they are. When it's where it's supposed to be, it's a part of what creates an overall functioning ecosystem. So we don't want to completely eliminate grasshoppers or aphids, any of it. The ladybugs wouldn't have anything to eat if they didn't have the bad bugs, right? It's all a part of it, but we want to keep everything in its balance. And when it's in its balance, you'll see very little predation on your plants, right? Like my poor rose bush over here, it's already struggling. They just butchered it back so badly before we bought the house, probably because they let it grow too big, and then they just hacked at it to have it look better during the sale process. They really, If I could talk to them, I would give them a stern talking to. But it's probably going to come back. The upper plant is probably going to die off, and it's probably primarily going to come back from the root structure, because two of the branches that are down at the base where they might be doing better, because the climate of this particular piece of land is so bad right now, they're being eaten alive by bugs. And without some more chemical intervention, at least towards like neem oil or garlic spray, that would definitely be something I'm happy to try. Neem oil, be aware, it does have it's killing things, right? So let's just read that one out. It's derived from the neem tree. It works in multiple ways. It acts as an anti-feedant, growth disruptor, interferes with insect molting, like when they shed their skins, and repellent for a wide range of pests, aphids, spider mites, whiteflies, thrips, grubs, Japanese beetles. It has low toxicity to mammals, birds, and pollinators when applied correctly. All right, so it's a pretty nasty stuff. So be aware. Even natural interventions can be pretty amazing in their level of toxicity. Like salt, right? That's the best example that anyone could probably offer. All right, excellent. So that's all there for you. Let's just go ahead and add that it's from Gemini, which always, of course, means that you'd want to check if it's not something you're like, okay, yes, I know enough about this to verify this for myself. You want to verify with AI. I'm relatively comfortable with what I read through with you guys. Beyond that, you'll want to look through it, but I'm not too worried. I've torn through Gemini's. Oops, I notified everybody. I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. But pretty interesting stuff, and useful really anywhere that anybody is doing any type of growing. So definitely some good, relatively easy when you're talking about garlic spray. My goodness, I would think that you could make that at home. And if it didn't give instructions for that, if you just ask the free version of any of these AI to help you create a garlic spray, then blend garlic cloves with water, strain, and dilute. Spray on affected areas. So it's a repellent, not a killer. That's awesome. That's super cool. Definitely, I'm definitely going to. Let's make sure it's just not bad for roses. Google should work. No, let's go ahead and stick with Gemini. I'm just not happy with Google Chrome right now. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, there we go. These silly toolbars get in my way one way or the other. Is garlic spray safe for rose bushes? I'm guessing it's just fine. Okay. Properly prepared and applied. All right, excellent. That's all we needed to know, Gemini. Thank you very much. Let's check out our calendar as we're about a half an hour over. Tons always to talk about, right, guys? Loving it. Miss Tammy's Tea and Talk with Tammy will be at 12 o'clock noon Pacific time, 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain time, 2 o'clock p.m. Central, and 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And I will be back with you guys this coming Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Mountain, 8:30 Central, and 9:30 for Eastern. Hope to see you all there, and I hope you have a wonderful end to your week and a fabulous weekend. Please feel free to unmute yourselves, everyone, and say good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Hope your plants are all doing better.
Yeah, they will.
Right? All of us. Mine is certainly not doing well, as we know. I barely had anything come up other than weeds. So hope all of them are doing better. Bye, guys.